Good evening or morning, whenever you're watching this. It's Josh here from Racing to Profit. It's about 10 to 11 in the evening on Thursday, the 15th of March. I'm just about awake, another hour or so to go, I think, before I call it a day and attack anything left in the morning. But I thought I actually would do a shorter video. We hope, fingers crossed, as I'm still sat here blabbering on at about midnight. Just looking at the county hurdle, mainly because that's the only race so far that I have looked at. Tomorrow, you will see on here on the members page, I have gone four-handed. Flying Tiger, I'll go on to in a moment. Whiskey Sour, Brelade. So at least I've got a Mullins and an Elliott horse on side, and another one for the British, who I actually think Flying Tiger and that name who I cannot pronounce, the Robert Walford mare. I actually think those are the two best of the British. If I just flick through some of the micro angles, we've got Brelade comes up there. Odds are only ever a guide. Ideally, he will half in price, but who knows? That one there, who I haven't spelt right, have I? Anyway, that's the Wolford horse. What else? And Whiskey Sour's there as well, so that's been some kind of useful guide. Jigginstown there. What have we got? Trainers Mullins, any under 25s. Ben Dundee, Brelade, Elliott's guide. Oh no, that's the 450, sorry. It is getting late, so you have to bear with me as I tick round to 2 minutes. Townend's there. Right, what am I going to flick up next? Here's the stats from the 25-page stat report, which is kind of the foundation and everything that's underpinned my approach this week in terms of starting points. And those of you who have used some of the other qualifiers in section 3 to back some other winners or back savers or whatever, which is what it's all about, as well as the tips. Not to sound like a broken record, which I often do. So I've been through Horse Race Base. I have looked through the top 10 stats, well, the three 10 from 10 stats. I have notes galore, all sorts going on. Now, those 10 from 10 stats leave a short list of, how many do they leave? 13. And I don't actually now, I've learned the last couple of years, I don't like keep chopping off and using stats for the sake of it. I actually would rather have that longer list, and actually the majority of the winners all this week actually so far have been on the long list. I think I might be incorrect there with the odd winner, but I think the majority have, including a couple that I haven't tipped, which is standard practice. So yes, that leaves 13. You'll see the stat there. Those that are rated 139 or lower actually do best, and the one that broke that stat last year was the classy horse. Wicklow Brave, wasn't he? He was a Grade 1 winner. I don't think there's a horse like that in this race this year. Those that are 139 or lower, I shot the Sheriff, but he's a non-runner. Ben Dundee, Spirit of the Games, don't like either. The Robert Walford horse, William H. Bonney, and another one, the Gary Moore horse. 16 to 1 in general has been the place to focus on this. Actually, the only ones I like out of that short list that are 139 or lower is the Robert Walford mare. You can ignore overall ratings, which can be a bit kind of deceptive, and I don't like using ORs to discount horses. These handicaps are getting tighter. Classier horses are getting in. A different kind of profile is needed these days, which is mainly about horses that have ran in some very good novice, graded novice, grade 1, grade 2, small fields, not going a proper pace. I've said these things many times before. Elliott's winner under Russell in the handicap hurdle was a classic one. He'd been chasing Sam Crow around in fields in Ireland. So that's the kind of interesting profile which three of the horses that I've tipped, excluding the Robert Walford mare, do have. The other thing to say is that, yeah, 11 stone 4 or below is pretty much a good guide. So you can ignore the actual rating and actually go on weight. And that's kind of an okay guide. Being age 5 or 6 is definitely a positive. and all four of mine are in that age range. And some various others. Running at Newbury last time out, that's mainly in the Betfair hurdle, I think, is a big negative. And there's quite a few that turn up from that, and some will be interested because of the form of Kalashnikov, etc. And maybe that stat, as you can see down there, Newbury ran at that track last time. Maybe that stat will be broken. 8 of the winners of the last 10 ran at Leopardstown or Cheltenham last time out. And I've got Whiskey Sour on board there. You can see Willie Mullins' record, Paul Nicholls, I don't really fancy any of his, and a few other winners dotted around there. So that's that. So I have gone for a few on the kind of stats shortlist. If I click the horse race to GG's, we'll see here, Brelade, it's a complete flyer at 33 to 1. But I thought fascinating. They've tried a chase career, which hasn't gone too well. He finished 11 lengths behind Footpad. I think Footpad didn't come off the bridle, and this one was probably being scrubbed along. But it's his hurdle form last year that I want to focus on. He ran well in his bumpers. Then he won one. That's a good sign of stamina. Leopardstown 18 furlongs in a Grade 1. He chased home Bacardi's 3 lengths in a Grade 1, novice Grade 1. So he's got some class, and I like this kind of approach. He then ran here last year and came a decent enough race. Again, that was another Grade 1, came 6th, beaten 10 lengths, outpaced, probably outclassed. The ground may have been too fast for him as well. That's not impossible, that he might actually improve for a bit softer ground. He's won a big field maiden now at Navan, and I like that. That's the same thing that our 28 to 1 winner of the Coral Cup had done. He'd won a big field maiden, which to me suggests he's a sort of horse that likes switching off in a big field, plenty of pace, plenty of cover, and that can play into his stamina as they climb up the hill and the leaders in front come back. So I like that. Now, if we took out his failed chase season so far, and let's just move forward his that run at Fairyhouse. If we moved forward all of that form there, kind of up to here, if that makes sense. So ignore the chase form basically. And this was his most recent form. He would be 12 or 14 to 1 here, I think. And it's on that basis of that form here. It's his handicap hurdle debut. We've seen Gordon Elliott this week already returning horses after a break, giving them 90 days, what he did with Tiger Roll and in the cross country, and various others as well. This one will be ready to the minute. Whether or not he's too keen or too fresh, we will find out. Jack Kennedy wouldn't have had the choice to ride because he's got to ride for his boss. I'm sure Davy Russell often rides for that owner, so I'm not 100% sure if he would have had the choice, or it might be he felt loyalty to that owner. I'm not 100% sure, but Mark Enright hasn't he hasn't ridden a hurdler here yet, actually. He doesn't have the best record on, I'm just trying to think, hold on a sec, for the trainer. No, that's a lie. It's okay. He's only ridden, he's ridden 4 handicappers for Gordon Elliott, and he's placed on 3 of them. So on that basis alone, you might want to go each way. It probably is an okay each way bet. I think I've just placed a bit on the nose because I'm an idiot. Maybe I should have gone each way and put half on the nose or something. Anyway, I would hope the money would come, but Elliott is in superb form, as we know. And we know he can ready the horse after a break. No problems there. He is just interesting. Only 4 or 5 horses have run in this race who competed in a non-handicap chase the last day, so I'm not going to use that as a reason to put me off. And in any case, he's 33 to 1. He's unexposed in handicap hurdles. He does have a touch of class based on those novice graded runs. Tongue ties on for the first time, doing something different, big field, strong pace, running at Cheltenham again, and he's got festival form, or has run here at the festival, so that's decent. Whiskey Sour is interesting. Our own Nick Mazur, I think, ticked him up this afternoon at probably about 20 to 1. Shame I didn't have a look at the race then, but I was busy losing my voice cheering on or throwing things at the telly as it was until Missed Approach romped to victory. What did I want to say about this one? Very interesting profile. got a bit of flat class, got a bit of flat speed. Looking at the pace map, I'm not 100% sure they'll go hell for leather here. They might. I think I made that mistake in the per temps by thinking all two horses are going to get an easy lead. What a load of nonsense. It's a big field, 20 runners plus. They're going to go some pace. But he can hold his position. He hacked up at Galway twice on the flat in decent races. He's won a Grade One hurdle at Leopardstown. That was fortuitous because I think two in front of him fell. But he plugged on behind Sam Crow again at Leopardstown. Now Leopardstown is a great pointer for festival handicap hurdles as a kind of in terms of where they race before they turn up at the festival. I just think it's interesting. David Mullins has ridden him the last twice. He keeps the ride. He's going to appreciate this strong pace. I think he'll stay this trip well because he stays it on the flat. He'll probably get further, which is no bad thing up this hill. He doesn't have course form, but 14 to 1, 12 to 1, Willie Mullins, who has farmed this race in recent years. I actually thought he looked the most interesting out of all the Mullins horses here today. If I take a look at Sansen, for example, Mullins is only 2 from 57 with horses having their first start in a handicap. That's a bit off-putting. So that's Whiskey Sour. Quite a similar profile to a lot of horses that I like to focus on at the festival. Flying Tiger, who I think is going to win. Hence why I recommended 1.5 points. I think 12 to 1 is more than fair. In my view, if he was trained by Gordon Elliott, if he was trained by Willie Mullins going into this race, he would be 6 to 1 favourite. That's what I think, certainly based on the form that they've been in as well. Let's have a look at his profile. It's only the 10th hurdle start of his life. He is the winner of the Fred Winter last year. He has winning festival form. Hurrah. Admittedly, it was on a different track. It was good to soft there. He came with a withering late run. Now, this is a horse who struggles to settle. He needs a big field. He needs a fast pace. The only time he's had a big field and he's had a fast pace was, surprise, surprise, that race at Cheltenham, where he won. He has spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races since pottering around in small field, graded races, held up out the back. I don't think he has the class to be a Grade 1 horse, but in any case, they've been slowly run and then the pace has picked up. He needs a stronger gallop. He's struggled to settle, I think, in a few of those. And in any case, I suspect Nick Williams, the canny bugger, might have aimed him at this. Maybe they'd like to have seen more at Doncaster there, but again, they've gone a small field and he's much better in a bigger field. And actually, I think he might want a bit of cut. You cannot say at this moment in time 100% that he definitely doesn't handle soft. It's a question because he hasn't won in open company, but he's run well enough. And at 12 to 1, I am more than happy to take a chance. Previous festival winner who was on a stats shortlist for the Fred Winter last year at 33 to 1, and I didn't tip him and I didn't back him. And clearly, I still remember that gaping wound. What else? So yeah, look, he's chased home the champion hurdle winner. He chased home the champion hurdle 5th in Elgin. I say chased home, kind of pottering on from the back, but you know he's finished within 5 lengths of them both, even if they were unextended. So yeah, he comes back in a handicap here. Surely this has been the plan. He's only £6 higher. He's got a year extra on his back. The other thing I wanted to mention was Noel Feely has been booked. Look at these when they team up in hurdles. 3 from 11, 5 places, Noel Feely and Nick Williams, superb. 1 from 5 in handicaps, that's fine. Oh, the other thing I wanted to spot, no, what was it? No, ignore that, that's another horse. So that's fine. That's Flying Tiger's case. He is on the stats shortlist of 13. He is in the right weight band. He's in the right odds. You generally want 16 to 1 or shorter, which 3 of these hopefully will be sent off at. The final one for Robert Walford, a bit left field, I suppose, but she was on the main shortlist of 13, and she was one that was in that 139 or lower band, and I thought, why not have one from that? She's 3 from 3 in hurdles. She's 2 from 2 after a break of 60 days or longer in hurdles. She arrives here in form, having won at the track last time out, and you would have to think this has been the target. as it probably has for a few of these, but not all of them. I think some are just here to give their owners a day out. Comes here in form. That was a slowly run race. She wears a hood for a reason. She struggles to settle. I think we could see a completely different horse here in a big field, strong race where she can settle, get around in amongst horses, have a pace to weigh man. I think she will be staying on really strongly at the end. She's probably a decent each way bet because I would be surprised given the power in this race of Elliott and Mullins and Nick Williams if she's good enough. But I wouldn't be shocked if she wins, and maybe we'll get to the end of kind of 20 past 2 and I'll be annoyed that I didn't put a point on her or recommend a point tip on her officially, but I didn't want more than 4 points on the race, and I am quite bullish about Flying Tiger, and I wanted a point on each of those two trainers' horses. I think that's it. She's in form. She's progressive. Remeluk Frank that form. Produced some winners. Okay, not great winners, but she's progressive. I think this handicap mark will be fine, and I think the race will be run to suit. I just think Connections are very excited about running her here. I think soft ground's okay. Some of it would suggest maybe better ground, but oh no, she's kind of. There's no evidence there to suggest that soft is not is a problem. I think she'll be fine on it. So those are the four. If I well, hold on while I just chat. I suppose I shouldn't flick through the rest because it is 17 minutes and about 5 past 11. So another short video, but hopefully you find it useful. If nothing else, you can see how my brain works in these big handicap hurdles at the festival. And what I've done there and those four things, those four horses that I've talked about is pretty much my approach. It's kind of the approach that found the winner of the Coral. Hasn't found the winner of another handicap hurdle just yet, but thankfully I've kicked into gear with the handicap chasers. What else do I want to say? I think the rest, pace, that's what I was going to say. They will be strongly enough run. Maybe not breakneck. Hopefully Jenkins will be up there. Hopefully Dickie Johnson actually is really aggressive. Harry Reid probably will be on Remeluk, so it should be okay. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I think it will be fine. The final thing I want to say is I don't think a lot of these look great. Bleu et Rouge is it isn't like last year's winner, sorry, it doesn't have the class, I don't think. A lot of these other ones just look completely out of form to me. The likes of Lego, that one, the William Ellis horse, sorry, I'm getting tired, I can't even read. I don't think it's good enough. I don't want horses that have just been consistently running in handicap hurdles. That isn't the kind of profile I like to focus on. Sandsend, I think, is too inexperienced. Could be anything, but I'll happily take on at 14s, I think. The likes of Remeluk, Stern Ruben are too exposed. Moonracer out of form. Brelade I've touched on. Mary Devere I don't think is going to be good enough. Just running in hurdles, small field. Probably the price she is because of Connections. Ruby Walsh was going to ride this one, and it pays normally to ignore Ruby Walsh with ridden handicap hurdlers from Mullins. Touched on Risky Sour. Devan Bear just looks out of form. Paul Nicholls' horse aren't really running well. He does hit a few trainer stats if that one wins. Gulp, maybe £2 at Betfair SP just in case, but looks out of form. All set to go, no, surely not. Chesterfield, I don't think is going to be good enough. I think too high in the handicap, doesn't have the class. Personally, no, not in good enough form. No, I'm happy to leave. Maybe leave egg on my face. It'd be great for Connections if he could win, but surely in this field, with the Connections represented and the quality of horses that have been running in graded races, he won't. Spirit of the Games ran at Newbury. Skelton's completely out of form. None of them are really running that well. One from 28 in the last 14 days. Ran well in a Newbury. If it repeats that race, interesting, but those Newbury stats put me off a bit. I don't necessarily think he's well handicapped. They've put cheap pieces on for a reason. I was happy to leave. Ben Dundee was too short for me. It's Elliott Russell. He is one of the two that it might be worth having savers on, but I've already fired 4 bullets. You'll have seen in the section 3 that he hits lots of stats. Again, he has just been running in handicaps. I don't think he's hidden. I don't think he's turning up here with a load in hand. He's £5 up. This could be as good as he is, and he turns up on the back of a poor run. I don't think it was a deliberately poor run. So that's, I was happy to leave. Mahied, I think I was happy to leave. Did okay at Kempton. Irish, right? Yeah, yeah, I just don't think it's good enough. Um, might need to be better handicapped, and Harry Skelton would have had the decision. The Walford one I've touched on. Elliot actually does. Again, this is another one been running well, very unexposed, so I can see the case, but single figure odds. Um, in this race, I've got to stick to my principles in these big field handicap hurdles. I cannot react to Thursday and suddenly start backing 8, 9 to 1 shots in these massive field handicap hurdles, because you know as soon as I do, I ignore a kind of whiskey sour type horse, or I ignore a where's the other one? Brelade, as he romps home at 33 to 1. So I'm happy. Obviously, I'm not going to put you off a saver, given connections, given age, handicap hurdle debut, could be anything, could be more to come, but I don't actually think this one looks that good personally. But then I thought that about a couple of the others. This Nichols horse happy to leave, the other three happy to leave. So that's that race. I'm pretty bullish, famous last words, that one of those four I've just mentioned is going to go very, very close. We shall see. I thought that about the Fred Winter, and the best I did was fifth. So we'll see. At least we've backed the biggest price Gordon Elliott runner in the race this time. So that's a relief if that one wins. So that's fine. So yeah, it would be between those four I've mentioned, Duke of Defy because of connections, and Ben Dundee because of connections. And he actually hits quite a few stats as well. Shortlist, 139 or lower, all the other stats. So actually maybe Ben Dundee of interest, and Duke Defy joining those four I've tipped, but you can decide what to do with them. I was a bit anti them based on their price and based on their form, and clearly because I've tipped them like the four that I've tipped. So as I clock round to 22 minutes, one race, God. But that's everything I've covered and everything in my thought process, I think, from start to finish of how I've analysed that race. And that same approach, if you apply it to these festival handicaps, small field, graded form, horses with a touch of class who suddenly improve for a big field, a strong pace. Handicap mark has been hidden, not necessarily deliberately. They've just been running in graded races, seeing if they're any good. And obviously, and being primed and prepped for the minute at this meeting. So that's that. Hopefully, all four travel strongly off the pace, all come through to the final hurdle, and one of them battles all the way to the line and wins. I think will be Flying Tiger. Um, I'm pretty bullish on him, if I'm honest. But that's that. Right. So, with that said, hopefully you found that of interest. This is Josh saying bye for now. Bye for now, and I'll probably be back Friday morning with a flick through, a shorter flick through all the other races that I end up tipping in. But it's 12:15 as I wrap up, 11:15, sorry, and I should get on to another race or two. So until the next time, this is me saying best of luck in this race. We'll need it. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.